Well, the Olympic world obviously is still buzzing over the results of yesterday's women's figure skating, with Russia's Adelina taking the gold medal over Korea's Yuna, who took silver. Joining us now on the phone from Sochi, Christine Brennan, USA Today sports columnist and ABC News contributor. Christine, thanks for being with us. In your column today, you uncovered some pretty shocking details about the figure skating judges.
Yes, Dan. No shock. Figure skating once again is in the news and controversy. Everyone remembers Salt Lake City 12 years ago. Well, this one is almost as bad, except that we'll never be able to identify the judges because now it's anonymous judging. But in terms of what their marks were, but two of the judges, one was Ukrainian judge number 2 last night, Yuri Balkov. In 1998 in Nagano, he actually was tape recorded by a Canadian judge trying to work a deal with her for the ice dance versus Ukrainian skaters to actually fix the competition. Kicked out of the sport, alarmingly, for only 1 year, but he was suspended. Yuri Balkov suspended for that, and he was back, and he was judge number 2 from Ukraine. And the Russian judge is married to the Russian Federation Secretary General, basically the big cheese of Russian figure skating. That's her husband, and she was the judge there. And I've actually also continued to uncover that one of the 3 technical panel members, these are the people who downgrade the jumps or decide level spins, very important points for the skaters, a woman named Olga Baranova from Finland, but obviously was through the Eastern Bloc, was seen hugging the entire Russian delegation right after the flower ceremony last night. That's the third. So needless to say, conflicts of interest galore in figure skating.
Well, the question obviously is then how are these judges with those kind of backgrounds allowed to still take part in the Olympics?
This sport is so incestuous, Dan. It's ridiculous. I mean, the in charge of the technical panel, the technical controller, again, not one of the judges, but even maybe more important because deciding if it was a quarter cheat on the landing, if it was a real triple, it was a double, the levels on the spins. Alexander Lekernik from Russia is vice president of the Russian Skating Federation. And, oh, by the way, the Russian won last night. It's hard to explain. This sport kind of comes up for air and is looked at in a huge way once every 4 years. And we're appalled, absolutely appalled. And then basically, Olympic Committee allows this to go on, but it's the IOC member, Octavio Chinquanta, is president of the International Skating Union, the federation for the sport. He knows this is all going on. They all know it's going on, and they don't seem to mind the old boys club or old girls club, the European mafia, the Russian mafia, whatever it may be. It is alive and well here in Sochi.
Wow. Well, the New York Times also breaks down in some pretty good detail about the gold and silver medal performances, coming to the conclusion that Sotnikova simply outperformed Kim, that her program was more difficult, more challenging. You were there, though. I mean, what did you think? Would you agree with that kind of an assessment?
I think you could say on the technical part that she did do tougher jumps. I don't think there's any dispute there. That by itself doesn't mean anything because you've got the program component scores. And to me and to my sources, and I've got another column hopefully coming up soon online that I'll put on Twitter, but I'm talking to a judge who was not judging the women's competition, but that both Carolina Kostner, the Italian, and Yuna Kim from South Korea should have been 1 to 1.5 points better per component score, which should have been, I don't know if it would have been quite enough for Kostner, but certainly for Yuna Kim to beat Sotnikova. And basically, the point there is that the old artistic scores, Dan, the second mark that we used to see on the TV screen, that's now all these program component scores. Amazingly, Sotnikova, a fine skater, but a 17-year-old, basically just out of juniors, beat these 2 incredibly refined, older, mature skaters in that second mark, in that component score. That's just unthinkable that she would win that. And so, again, that certainly is a huge part of the conversation. And it's not just jumps, it's all those the skating skills, transitions, interpretation. And according to every source I've talked to, there is no way that the Russian should be ahead of either Kostner or Yuna Kim on those scores.
Which is why the conversation has certainly exploded. Christine Brennan from Sochi. Christine, thank you so much. We look forward to that article as well.